My name is Marni. I'm an Orthodox Jew and I was raised in a religious home. Sex wasn't a secret and I knew all the basics before I got married, but I was still a virgin on my wedding night. That was the night that I realized my life wasn't going to be like everyone else's. Instead of a night of intimacy and love, there was frustration, there was confusion, there was tears. We figured it was due to our inexperience, so we tried again and again and again, but same results. So a few days later, someone told me maybe I should take a Valium to relax me, and I tried that. That was terrible advice, and that would really plague our new marriage. With the drug, we were able to consummate our marriage, but with intense pain, physical pain, mental pain. Both my husband and I had mentors and asked for advice, and I was told, drink some wine to relax, which obviously did not help. I dreaded the nighttime and I suffered from terrible insomnia. My husband was as supportive as could be, but he was also bewildered, he was confused, he was frustrated, and we didn't know what to do. 3 months later, my husband's rabbi told us it was time to see a professional, so we began to see a sex therapist. She suggested that I must not love my husband, and I clearly was not attracted to him, and she made me doubt everything that my marriage was based on. She was also convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that I must have been abused as a child, which I was not. And no matter how many times I told her that I was not and had no history of abuse, she tried to get me to open up about it, and she wouldn't believe me. She told me I was repressing my memories and should see an EMDR specialist. After a number of EMDR appointments, I was told that I was clearly not abused and that she couldn't help me. I had now been married 8 months and was back to square one. At this point, my marriage was falling apart. I was convinced I was going to end up divorced, alone, unable to remarry because who would want me, and that I would never be a mother. I scheduled a visit with an OBGYN to rule out physical factors. I had gone to a gynecologist before I was married, and so I was sure everything was fine, but I figured maybe somebody to give me some medical advice. When I scheduled my appointment, I asked if it was possible to schedule some extra time to talk to the doctor. When I arrived, she seated me in an office, and I just broke down in tears. I poured out my story, and I just told her, please just tell me something is wrong and that it's fixable, and so that I can get better. And she handed me the book called A Private Pain, and she recommended that I read it. I took it home, and I finished the book that day. And I cried through the whole thing. And then I gave it to my husband, and he also read it in a short time. And my problem finally had a name. I had vaginismus. I emailed the Women's Therapy Center that day and scheduled my first appointment for March 6, 2009, 8.5 months after I got married. Doctors Dietza and Ross told me that they cured every patient who finished therapy, but I was convinced that I would be their exception to the rule. I was living in New York at the time, and so I did weekly treatments instead of the 2-week program that they have. It was a stretch for our finances, as I was a teacher in a private school and my husband was a graduate student. But we kept at it, and 3 months later, I completed my treatment, and we finished just before my first anniversary. I was patient number 667 to be cured by the Women's Therapy Center. We celebrated our anniversary the way our wedding night should have been, with love and intimacy and passion and joy, and not a small amount of surprise at our very, very, very good fortune. I now have a fulfilling marriage and 2 beautiful children, and I'm grateful to God for orchestrating the events that led me to WTC and to these 2 doctors.